Okay, so welcome and thank you very much for coming today. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Emma. I'm a holistic health coach and a blissiplinarian. That's the name I gave to myself. Blissipline is a blend of the words discipline and bliss, and there's a lot of definitions which I do go into sometimes. But for today, let's just say it's the discipline to do what brings you bliss, and it's to stop delaying the bliss. You know how we do that, when I get thin or when the kids grow up or when I've retired. It's to do more of what you love now. So I support women in their middle years to level up and make the rest of their life the best of their life. And I do that by supporting them to optimize three areas of their being, which is the body. We do that through diet and lifestyle upgrades, through the mind, where we balance thoughts and emotions and clear any limiting beliefs that are holding us back. And the spirit is to connect with our passion and purpose and really bring to life what we're here on the planet to do. So before we go any further, I do just want to remind you that this is a free webinar. I'm going to give you lots of value today, and I won't be trying to sell you anything, not even the sales pitch at the end. But I do just want to share with you my unhidden agenda. So I am going to share something with you. At the end of the call today, I'm going to give you the opportunity to book a 25-minute session with me, where we can do a full evaluation of your life, where you're at, and how we can add more bliss. It's not going to cost you anything. And all I want to do is to give you the opportunity to book that call. So is it okay if I do that later? Awesome. Thank you. All right. So back to why I'm here and why I do what I do and why I'm doing this webinar today. I came to this work through my own experiences. So there was two major events, really. One was I almost died in a motorbike accident in 1999. I was in Thailand. I had left my home on a one-way ticket, stressed and depressed, overworked, overwhelmed. And then this motorbike accident was actually the best thing that's ever happened for me. And my life has never been the same since, because I made the decision at that point to live before I die. And the second thing also happened in Thailand, actually. I was diagnosed with PCOS, and I really wanted to have a child. PCOS is polycystic ovarian syndrome, in case you don't know. I really wanted to have a child, and I was told that was very unlikely. But through doing some research, I eventually found out about diet and lifestyle changes I could make, and also that fasting can help to reverse disease. So I went back to Thailand and did a couple of water fasts and got pregnant on my second attempt at the age of 39. And I have also transformed quite a lot of emotional drama and limiting beliefs so that I can be here to live my purpose. And my purpose is supporting you and others to create better health and more bliss in your life. So what we're going to talk about today, we're going to talk about some tools and techniques and a short list of happy chemicals. So there's actually 7 neurochemicals I'm going to talk about today. I've chosen ones that you've probably already heard of, and I've chosen tips and tricks that are very easy for you to do and implement, so you can go away tomorrow and make a difference to your health and happiness. So there's a free download as well that I'm going to give you at the end, just a little PDF cheat sheet, so you can start making more bliss tomorrow. So let's get started. So the first thing is that our bodies are designed to feel good, and magic is in divine nature. That's where the intelligence is, in nature, not in the laboratory. And we evolved or were designed or created, depending on what your beliefs are, or whether it's something else other than that. But however you believe we came to be, the fact is that our bodies are designed to feel good. We have chemistry within us to make all these happy chemicals. And everything that was necessary for us to survive in the past made us feel good, so that we did it again, and we kept living. And all animals seek pleasure and avoid pain. So we were rewarded for doing the right thing to keep ourselves alive by these neurochemicals. So what's happened now, I didn't bring my phone to the call, but I could literally sit at this desk in front of my computer with my phone. All I really need to move is my thumb, and I can have everything I need. The thing is that my body is then not doing the things that it's designed to do to make me feel good. So a lot of those pathways for the chemicals that make us feel good are now lying largely dormant. And perhaps even more unfortunate is that big business has taken advantage of us in this case. It's tapped into us, it's making a profit from us because we don't feel good without adding other things that come from big pharma or fast food or big tobacco or alcohol or gaming or gambling and all those other things. However, we do have this chemistry within us and we can activate it. And my goal for you today is to show you how you can make these happy chemicals yourselves so that you can adopt a diet and lifestyle that's going to improve your chemistry and make you feel happier. So we're going to talk about 7 chemicals, as I said before: anandamide, which is the bliss molecule; dopamine, which is the reward molecule; serotonin, which is the confidence molecule; adrenaline, which is the energy molecule; oxytocin, the love molecule; endorphins, the painkiller molecule; and GABA, which is the calming molecule. Now, there are others. Like I said, can't do the whole list. We'd be here forever. But these are just 7 that I'm going to talk about today. And I'm going to talk more about the bliss molecule than anything else. So I'm going to go into quite a bit of detail about that one. And then there'll be a shorter presentation on the other 6. So let's start with the bliss. So anandamide is the chemical name, and it was given that name because ananda means bliss in Sanskrit, and this chemical does make you feel happy. It was discovered in, I don't know if it was the late 80s or early 90s. Scientists were basically trying to work out why it is that humans enjoy cannabis. Like, what is it how does this affect us? Why does this plant affect us? And it's because we have receptors for the cannabinoids. And the reason that we have them is because we are actually supposed to make our own cannabinoids. So endo means made in the body. So endocannabinoids are cannabinoids that we make, that we do actually make several, and we have a whole endocannabinoid system. And like I said, this system wasn't even known about. So we have a nervous system and a circulatory system and a respiratory system and all those things which we're very familiar with. But the endocannabinoid system, they didn't even know it existed until the 90s. And then what they've now realized is that it's an ancient system and it actually governs and controls and regulates all the other systems. So you may have heard of the pituitary gland being the master gland that sort of coordinates all the other hormones. The endocannabinoid system is like the master system which regulates everything else. So that means if we support the endocannabinoid system, we can have benefits to the whole body. So here are just a few of the things that it influences. So it regulates and controls many aspects of health, including anxiety and depression, stress, appetite, metabolism, digestion, pain, inflammation, immunity, sleep, mood, learning and memory, bone growth, liver function, cardiovascular function, nerve function, reproductive function, fetal development, muscle development, skin function, motor control, and more. And it has been linked to everything, all sorts of diseases. Having a malfunctioning endocannabinoid system can lead to schizophrenia, anxiety, all sorts of different things. So we really want to learn how to nourish this system. So one way to boost your anandamide is to exercise. Now, we used to attribute, and in some cases they still do, although science has found it's no longer true, we used to attribute the runner's high to endorphins. And indeed, endorphins are released when people do a lot of exercise like running. And we're going to talk about endorphins later. They do have a role, but they're no longer attributed to be the reason for the runner's high. That is purely due to anandamide. So anandamide is that endocannabinoid that I just talked about. So we can make more of that by exercise. It's also found in chocolate and cacao. So the reason that we want chocolate is because it does make us feel good. That is true. But I mean in good quality chocolate, cacao, not your junk chocolate, but really a really nice chocolate. Black truffles also contain it, but they are quite hard to come by. So mostly we make it ourselves. Those are the only 2 food sources that we know of so far that actually contain it. But we can make more of it ourselves there's two ways that we can control how good we are at producing it. So one is we can eat foods that increase our production of it. And the other thing is we can eat foods or essential oils and things like that as well, use those that decrease our breakdown of it. So we've got some chemicals and enzymes that are used to make it. So we want to provide our body with all the ingredients they need to do that. But then there is another thing called FAAH, which is what breaks down the anandamide. So we can eat foods that inhibit the breakdown so that it lasts for longer once we've made it. So that's things that inhibit it are the foods containing camphorol, if I've pronounced that right. If I haven't, never mind. And it's in lots of fruits and vegetables, apples, tomatoes, grapes, potatoes, onions, blackberries, so lots of different things. So if you're eating a plant-based diet, you're probably getting lots of camphorol, which is meaning that you are supporting your endocannabinoid system that way because your anandamide is not breaking down so fast. Essential oils are another really great way to support your endocannabinoid system. So especially those containing beta-caryophyllene. Now, copaiba essential oil, I always have some on my desk. Copaiba essential oil has got, I think it's like 67% beta-caryophyllene. I do have a post on my website about essential oils and the endocannabinoid system, and beta-caryophyllene has got so many benefits that I'm sure I would be sued by the TGA for saying what they are because, you know, but there is a lot of benefits. You can go and read those on my website as to what BCP has been shown to do. Black pepper, melissa, clove, and ylang ylang also really high in beta-caryophyllene. And then there's other oils that can help as well, and that is again by reducing the breakdown of the anandamide and the other endocannabinoids, and that's cedarwood, lavender, mastic, and CBD oil. So CBD oil does come from the cannabis plant. It's with the CBD, if you have the CBD oil, there's a smaller amount of the THC. So the THC is the part that gets you the high. You can have it so that you completely remove all the THC, but it's actually only able to be sold with very, very small amounts, so you don't get high from it. But the CBD oil actually supports how much anandamide is in your system, and it's thought it's by preventing the breakdown of it as well. So for some people, I always get asked this question, so I will answer it now before we go any further. Should you take it with THC or just smoke cannabis? THC is an addictive substance. And so what happens when you have THC is that your body likes it and it wants more of it, and you get so that you need more and more to have the same effect. I think avoiding the THC is better. And other things we can do to support the endocannabinoid system in general. So omega-3s, walnuts, flaxseed, fatty fish are all really good sources of omega-3s. Phytocannabinoids, like I just said, like CBD, hemp seeds, obviously. Oh, have a new person joining. So hemp seeds are another thing. Adaptogens like turmeric, black pepper, echinacea, and probiotic foods. And this is because they support the gut bacteria, and the gut bacteria support the endocannabinoid system. There's a couple of things where we have this kind of feedback loop. So quality sleep supports the endocannabinoid system, and a balanced endocannabinoid system supports quality sleep. So we really need to intervene if we can to make sure that we are getting some good sleep, because if we get good sleep, we'll get a better endocannabinoid system function, and then we'll get better sleep. Stress management is also really important. So mindfulness practices, medication, breathing exercises, and avoiding toxins. So I'm going to talk about that, like the toxins block a lot of the receptors, they block a lot of the production of these chemicals. I could do another presentation on that. I'm going to touch on it with a couple of other chemicals as we go forward. But I do have in my Facebook group, if you're in that, a whole clean eating challenge that does give you a little bit more information on that as well. All right, so now we're moving on to the other 6 chemicals. So dopamine is the reward molecule. So it's big news at the moment. It's fashionable to do a dopamine detox, it seems. And why? Just dopamine is good. So you don't want to detox it because you're not detoxing it because you don't want it. You do want it. What happens is that we can, again, like I was saying with the THC, you can get so that you need more and more to feel the benefits. And actually what happens when we drink alcohol, as when you have the first drink of alcohol, it increases the dopamine. So that's the rush that you get. And then after 20 minutes or so, the alcohol actually blocks the dopamine receptors. So then you have the down, and then it's like, oh, I need to get another one of those drinks so that I can have more dopamine. And a lot of drugs and junk food and sugar and all of those things work on the same mechanism. So they're making us seek more and more pleasure at the same time dulling, our experience of that pleasure so that we need more and more. So that's how addiction works. We can get healthy dopamine. So we can do that by setting and accomplishing small goals. So it is like, I did it. So celebrating our wins is really important. So that's something a lot of us have been talking about lately. We do really need to celebrate our wins, and often we don't do that. And engaging in creative activities. And I think I've already talked about, just avoiding the junk food and those instant gratification type things and how the alcohol works. So the next one is serotonin. So sometimes this is just called the happiness chemical, but these are all happiness chemicals. How this one particularly works is on how happy we are with ourselves. So it's the confidence molecule. It gives us the feeling of self-worth and belonging. It's like our emotional well-being, and yeah, like I said, our sense of being happy with ourselves. Setting little challenges for yourself and being able to say I did it can create more serotonin. So can getting out in the sun, practicing mindfulness, and eating fit foods rich in tryptophan. So tryptophan is a precursor, so it's the chemical that the body needs to make serotonin. So you can get that from turkey and from nuts and things like that. And avoiding excessive stress, we should all try and do that anyway. A poor diet, especially a diet lacking in essential nutrients, will influence serotonin. But also, really importantly, I want you to know about aspartame. So aspartame is an artificial sweetener, a very common one, and it actually inhibits serotonin production. So this is a trap a lot of people fall into. A lack of serotonin obviously leads to anxiety and depression. And, people are on a diet and they're not feeling very happy with themselves. They're filling themselves with this chemical that's blocking anything that's making them feel good, and on the spiral goes. So if you do know anybody that is suffering from anxiety or depression, I recommend you just ask them to try eliminating aspartame and see if that helps. Adrenaline. So adrenaline, this is the one that we get when we're, pushing ourselves out of our comfort zone. We may have some people here that would consider themselves to be adrenaline junkies. If you're an adrenaline junkie, then that's great. But I would also like you to focus on building the other 6 chemicals so that you're more balanced. There's another name for this is epinephrine. So you may have heard of it called epinephrine. So it's the same thing. It's the fight or flight molecule, but it is very good for us. So you can make more of it by getting out of your comfort zone, challenging yourself with new physical activity. I do it by turning the shower to cold. And it's quite cold where I live. I'm on the south coast of Western Australia. So when you turn on the cold tap here, it is cold, and it's hilarious. I laugh at myself every morning because they're like that hesitation that I have. All I've got to do is turn the tap. And you just have that moment of hesitation and you're like, oh, I don't want to, but I don't want to. But I do find that when I do that, like before I've even got out of the shower in the morning, I've stepped out of my comfort zone, and that does give me a sense of empowerment. So what adrenaline does, as it says at the top there, is it boosts our energy and focus and excitement, and it gives us a sense of empowerment. Like when I step out knowing that I've already been out of my comfort zone today, I'm just I seem to be able to do more, and I'm more confident, and it's I'm already winning. Things that we need to avoid is chronic stress and burnout. You can have too much adrenaline. So we do, especially if you are an adrenaline junkie, please work on some of the others, especially the last one I'm going to talk about, which is the calming molecule. So try and avoid burnout and stress, and again, poor sleep habits. So all of those three, stress, burnout, and poor sleep habits, will lead to adrenal fatigue. So the adrenal glands, which are just above the kidneys, are what makes the adrenaline. And when you get adrenal fatigue, then basically you become exhausted. So it's like your adrenals have just overworked and produced a lot of adrenaline, and then they're just like, no, we haven't got any more. So really supporting that system of the body. So if you have been overproducing the adrenaline, then do work on the others. But if you haven't, and if you rarely get yourself out of your comfort zone, then it is something I do encourage you to do, even if it is just to have a cold shower, or just to turn the shower to cold for 10 seconds at the end. So oxytocin is our next one. So this is the love molecule. A lot of people really noticed the absence of this during lockdown and things that we had, when people couldn't connect with each other. So it does foster the feeling of connection, trust, and bonding. It's where the emotional warmth and well-being comes from. And we get this from hugging other people, from spending time with our loved ones, from practicing acts of kindness. Volunteers have actually been shown to live longer than anyone else. If you volunteer, you add life to your years, and you add years to your life because of doing that act for other people. And if you don't have a human to hug, get a dog. And if you don't have a dog, go for a walk and pat someone else's. Things to avoid are isolation and the lack of human connection, and also withholding affection. And I think we're much better now than we were, but certainly if I look at my parents' generation, there was a lot of, it just wasn't so cool to be so open with our affection to each other back then. And I do see a lot of people really struggling to show their affection. So try to avoid withholding your affection. We've only got two more to go. So this is the penultimate one, endorphin. So this is the one that, like I said before, it used to be the thing that we thought caused the runner's high, but actually it doesn't. That's now known to be anandamide. But endorphins are produced when we exercise as well, especially when we're running or doing cardio. And they're actually a natural painkiller. That's what allows athletes to go further and do more and keep going when, if they didn't have the endorphins, it would probably hurt too much to continue. We can also get it from laughter and from listening to music and moving to music and just having a good dance. A dance like no one's watching. I do have a playlist for that if you want. And yeah, avoiding a sedentary lifestyle. So obviously it comes from movement, and avoiding the processed food. So again, there's a lot of chemicals in processed foods that inhibit the production of all of these chemicals. So really avoiding processed foods would be beneficial. And then the final one that we're going to talk about today is GABA. So GABA stands for gamma aminobutyric acid. That's probably why they call it GABA. And it reduces anxiety, and it promotes relaxation and emotional balance. So to make more, practicing meditation or practicing yoga, doing some breath work, taking a relaxing bath. Again, the fermented foods support the gut bacteria to produce the GABA. And avoiding things like caffeine, or at least avoiding it after lunchtime, stress overload. But this is another thing here where we've got this thing going on where it's kind of a feedback loop. So this is the relaxation molecule, but if you're not relaxed enough, it diminishes the calming effects of the GABA. So we really need to focus on getting ourselves into that relaxed state. So you can do that with meditation, yoga, and a bath. And as you get yourself into the relaxation, then you're going to get better at producing the relaxation chemical. All right, so that's it. That's all of them. Now, I do have a free download for you, so you can download that here. I made a document so I can post that in the chat, which I will do when I've finished, so I can just copy and paste that in for you. But so it's just a free document. It's just a one-pager. You can print it off and stick it in the fridge. I've got a little space here for you to write in what you want to do. Now, I'm all about bliss, remember, so I don't want you going out there and doing anything you hate just because I've got to produce more anandamide. Like, that's not going to work. So I want you to find something that you love to do that actually fits in one of these boxes, because you can do more of what you love and make more of these happy chemicals. So just find something that fits this criteria, stick it in there, write it in, post it on the fridge or somewhere where you're going to look at it, and just remind yourself to actually have the discipline to make time to do this. Because if you do have more of these happy molecules circulating in your body, then you're going to have more energy and more creativity and more inspiration to go and do more of what you love. So again, we've got that feedback loop that's going to just make it better and better. If you do want to connect with me, like I said at the beginning, I was going to give you an opportunity to book a free call. So I do invite you to do that. Like, I really love to do that. It's how I give back to people, and I love to have a chat. A few of you on here already know that. So I do love to have a chat, and I would really love to get to know you if I haven't met you already, and to see how I can support you to be healthier and happier. So I promise I won't be selling you anything. It's just so we can do an assessment of where you're at and come up with a bit of a strategy so that you can improve your life. I do have, so there's essential oils and CBD I did talk about. Again, I'm not advertising any brands or selling any brands on here, but I do have a couple that I recommend that I've actually got discount codes and things, so I can give you those. Again, just contact me for one-to-one or message me if that's something you're interested in. I've got a Facebook group which has a new name thanks to a mentor of mine. So the Add More Life to Your Years Facebook group that a lot of you are familiar with is now the Blissful Living Academy, which of course is all about ways to add more life to your years. And I've got a website. And I believe that's me finished. Does anybody have any questions? I'll just post all of those links in the chat so that they're easier for you to get. All right, so there's all my links there. So the second one down is to book your free session. The top one is to just download that worksheet. That will take you to a page on my website where you can, download that. Does anybody have any questions about anything that we've talked about today, or comments or experiences, insights, realizations?
That was really awesome, Emma. I'm really glad I joined, actually. Yeah. It's great.
Yeah, good. Yeah, add more bliss to your life.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, it was a lot of good information. I enjoyed it, and yeah, nice summaries of it and what the key molecules are, and then just some good tips as what to do. So yeah, I
really wanted it so that it could be something that you could just start tomorrow. I mean, there are lots of other ones that we can work on, but like you might need to see a breathwork instructor, or do all these other things that are like a little bit harder. But this is just things like you could do all of those things tomorrow if you wanted to. So yeah, really wanted to make it easy for people. And yeah, the intelligence is in nature. It's not in the pharmacy or the laboratory. Do you know what I mean? It's all there for us.
Create what it needs to.
Yeah. Yeah. Awesome. Well, thank you very much for being with me. Sorry, Weiner.
I was just going to say, this is the stuff that my friends always talk about. And and, creating that healthy lifestyle. And yeah, this is great.
Yeah, it is. You'll be amazed if you do change your diet and lifestyle.
Yeah.
How, like, I have so many people that work with me that just they get to a point where they didn't realize it was possible to feel this good, and it's just been doing, it's so hard, actually. It's getting harder and harder to navigate a healthy lifestyle because there's just everything's processed food and even a lot of our fresh produce is devoid of nutrients, or it's sprayed with something. I was just learning about some new chemical they're putting on stuff in the supermarkets, like, so your fresh produce to keep it fresher, and they're coating it with this stuff you can't even wash it off, and it's not it's not healthy for humans. It's not, we weren't designed for that. And we talk about a lot of, so I do support people with detoxification, and people will say, but our body detoxifies naturally, and yes, it does. However, there's 700 new toxic chemicals added to the toxic chemical register every year.
Yep.
And they're all manufactured in a laboratory and not something natural that our body even knows how to deal with. Do you know what I mean? And sometimes it can work it out, but the total burden of chemicals that we have is just huge. There was a study done by a group called the Environmental Working Group, which is a US-based company, organization, and they found that the average woman has come into contact with 168 toxic chemicals before she leaves the house each day. And that's, you've got your deodorant, your shampoo, your conditioner, your makeup, your toothpaste, all of those things, your perfume. It's just, and that's when you're in the house where you can control it. Then you go into the supermarket where you've got to sterilize yourself before you can walk in the door, and, the air fresheners and the glyphosate that they're spraying the weeds in the path with as you walk past, and the minefield. So but yes. Anyway, anyone got anything else? Thank you very much for being here. I do appreciate your time. And if you want to book a call to have a chat, I'm always good for a chat. All right. Take care.
Thank you, lovely.
Bye.
Bye.